Are you trying to figure out some like deep feeling within you? You're like, oh, I feel like that's coming up, and therefore that's probably because of that, and that memory happened there, and therefore this person did that today, and then it just gets exhausting. You get tired and you get overwhelmed. Well, today I'm going to talk about feeling rather than analyzing for your mental health. And if you stay until the end, I've got an extra point for you then that you'll want to stick around for. Now, this came from the other day. I have my ups and downs, and I'm a lot better at navigating them than I would have been years ago. I would just ignore them, push them away, suppress them, and it would have got even worse or gone out partying or whatever. Now I navigate my emotions, and sometimes they're not comfortable. Yet, if it's like the anxiety, the stress, or feeling really low, I will sit with it. Now, the other day was one of those instances. I came back from a social event, and it was a great social event. It was really good. They were drinking, I was not, but it's still a good chat, right? And I'm walking home. I don't have a car, so like, I wasn't drinking because I wasn't deciding not to not drink because I didn't have a car, but it's because I want a no drinking spell at the moment, which I'll go through. Anyway, when I was not drinking and then coming home, I got myself like some chips on the way home, and they're all right. Although I had them today and I wasn't feeling so good, so maybe they're a bit dodgy today. Anyway, I'm walking back, and I got home and I felt really sad. I felt really like lost, and I didn't know where that was coming from. And then I started going like, "Where's that coming from? Where's this like and all this pattern?" And instead of doing that, I changed my approach from a conversation I had with my coach. I just felt it. I was just like, right, I'm just going to acknowledge I'm feeling really sad right now. And I cried, I was emotional. And actually, after I did that, not even forcing it to, I started feeling neutral and I started feeling more joy, started feeling more relaxed because I felt what I needed to feel. I didn't try and analyze it. And that made a big difference. And that's what I really want to share because we could be, I'm particularly left brain, very logical, although I'm quite creative as well. And I'm trying to figure out a reason for everything. I always like to have a strategy for everything. And strategies and systems are great, 100%. I wouldn't be a person who could just like blag everything. I've never been that kind of person. But sometimes you just need to feel into things. And that's certainly the work I've been doing in the last 2 years. And it's quite hard to adapt to, but it makes a big difference, right? Allow yourself to go through it because if you push it away, it just get worse. I want to ask you this: if you're like trying to figure out every single emotion, why it's occurring, what's the whole backstory, how's it helping you? Because if you're anything like me, it can be quite exhausting. So here's just a few tips I've got on this into feeling into emotions rather than overanalyzing. The first one: sense something's coming up like quite early rather than getting too intense. And sometimes it might just come on intense. And then just feel into it. Just feel it, right? Just sit with it if possible, right? Go and sit with it and just allow it to be. Don't try and think about it, just feel it. Feel where it is in the body and do that, right? Now, if you're going through something like grief, and grief doesn't mean necessarily if someone's died, obviously it does mean that as well, but for me, it could be the loss of something, like whether that's an item, a person, personal relationship, or you know, or something else, right? Or a job. Like that's obviously going to take a lot of feeling into, and it's not going to be an overnight fix, right? So just have some time to sit with yourself. The next one, have a sequence for when things come up. I have a very simple sequence I have. A 3-step one, because if you get more than 3 steps, you just get confused, particularly when you're in the moment. I allow myself to feel it. And when I've allowed myself to feel it, I ask myself, what's the meaning coming up here? And I don't try and make it too complicated. And then what I do is then just think, all right, what do I want? What do I want? And then that refocuses me. But the first step is actually feeling into something. And then the third thing I'm going to share is if a feeling like keeps coming up, just note it on your phone. And then maybe once a week, which is what I do, just journal into it a little bit further. Now, I like to journal most mornings, but maybe you just do it once a week, right? Note on your phone just somewhere like, okay, this feeling of like sadness, of help, be specific if you can. Like, helplessness or anxiety keeps coming up, and just notice that. Or maybe you're noticing it's coming up in a certain thought, or it's coming up in a certain situation. Just keep note of that as well, so you can feel into it a little bit more and maybe look at it a bit more. Right. My extra point I really want to emphasize with you is try somatic breathwork. It is a game changer. Now I'm certifying as one at the moment, so I'm halfway through. So it will be something I'm offering people going forward. But yeah, somatic breathwork is a great tool to really feel into the body on a deep level. In fact, I'm going to do my session in a bit after this. But yeah, just look up somatic breathwork release on Instagram. If you want any guidance around that, just feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram as well, and I'll send you the page. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You'll improve your other people's lives by working on yourself as a man. And remember, lead with your heart, not with fear.